Hello and good morning from where you're listening from. It's my hope and prayer God has kept you in good health and faith. Today marks a milestone of the year. I thank the Lord for enabling me through the year, taking me through WhatsApp voice notes to an established and running podcast. I have witnessed His love and grace for ever since I started. He's been faithful, for I have never missed a word to put across. It's not by my might, but by His strength and love towards me. And going forward, my promise is to apply myself more, even as I serve Him, and to let Him be the potter as I be the clay. Today's episode is on vows, and to start off, I will explain what a vow is. A vow is a solemn declaration not to or to do a particular thing. An example of a vow in the Bible is found in the book of 2 Samuel chapter 3, where David had vowed not to eat at daybreak during Abner's burial, who was killed by the commander of his army and nephew Joab, because Abner had earlier killed his younger brother Asahel when David was king at Hebron, and Saul died in battle with the Philistine, and his son called Ishbosheth had taken over the reins in Israel thanks to Abner, who happened to be also the commander of the army and nephew to Saul. Now these were two commanders, Joab, Team David, Abner, Team Ishbosheth, who is the son to Saul. So the two armies had agreed to make their men fight, and the fight turned out to be vicious. And the army of David, headed by Joab, was winning and resulted to Abner fleeing. But Asahel, the younger brother to Joab, pursued him, and after constant warning from Abner to stop him from pursuing, he didn't listen. And so Abner struck him and he died, and this made Joab furious. David, on the other hand, was seeking peace and to reunite the whole of Israel, and Abner offered a reconciliation after a misunderstanding with Ishbosheth, who had accused him of sleeping with his father's sole concubine. And so Abner makes a trip to see David, and after striking a deal for reconciliation, this time Joab wasn't around when all this was happening, and when he returned, he returned just as Abner had left. And when he was told Abner was around, he pursued and killed him. This dented a blow to David's effort, and to mourn his loss, he accompanied the requiem in front, wearing sackcloths, and even did a lamentation on Abner. And the lament is found in 2 Samuel chapter 3, verses 33 and 34, that I would like you to read thereafter. He was urged to eat, but he says in verse 35 of chapter 3, "May God deal with me, be it ever so severely, if I taste bread or anything else before the sun sets." This was a vow, an example of many others, like in Job times, where he also vows to the Lord to make his hand fall off if he is speaking lies. Salvation should be treated as such. By the way, there's a distinction between vow, promise, and covenant, but that's a subject for another day and not today. Today is on vows. In the last chapter of Leviticus, that is Leviticus chapter 27, the whole chapter is on vows and the recommendation. Vows are sacrifices and they can be atoned for. All through the verse it says a fifth should be added. If you had vowed to give, let's say, like land to a friend or a goat, then went back on your decision, you had to compensate that and add a fifth for atonement. Redeemed, to be redeemed, you see is the word. That was during the Old Testament. Now, in the New Testament, Christ came and changed all that by now declaring, "Let your yes be yes and no be no." And that is in the book of Matthew chapter 5, verse 37. And so today, even as I bring the matter to rest, is to let you know, as believers, there's a cost to follow Jesus. He says, "If you want to be my disciple, you must bear your own cross and follow me." It's a daily decision to take your cross and follow Christ. Christ gave his life up for us. Through his precious blood, he came as atonement for sinners. Life with Christ is free and full when you decide to surrender all and follow him. In 1 Peter chapter 1 verses 18 to 19, it says, "For you know that it was not with perishable things such as silver or gold that you are redeemed from the empty way of life handed down to you from your forefathers, but with the precious blood of Christ, a lamb without blemish or defect." And about vows, in Ecclesiastic chapter 5 verses 3 to 7, it says, "As a dream comes when there are many cares, so the speech of a fool when there are many words. When you make a vow to God, do not delay in fulfilling it. He has no pleasure in fools. Fulfill your vow. It is better not to vow than to make a vow and not fulfill it. Do not let your mouth lead you into sin. Do not protest to the temple messenger, 'My vow was a mistake.' Why should God be angry at what you say and destroy the work of your hands? Much dreaming and many words are meaningless. Therefore, stand in the way of God." That has been my teaching on vows. Have a Merry Christmas. Do not be afraid to welcome me over to your celebrations. See you next year, God willing, and may God may He guide us through. Amen.